John Ochins, and welcome to Schooling Around. The Breakfast Club swings into action, a new way for high school parents to keep in touch. And our bands play on into the new year. Stay right here.
Vision loss is not something that you feel until it happens.
Most people lose their vision from diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma, not at birth.
With macular degeneration, you lose your central vision.
You have a blind spot right in the center of your face, so I can't actually see your face.
So even that little circle in which I could see became a big blur.
I was 65 when I first was diagnosed with glaucoma.
There were no symptoms. I had no headaches.
3 million Americans have glaucoma, and half don't even know it.
11 million people in the United States have macular degeneration.
You lose mobility, independence, changes your entire life.
So many eye disorders can be treated if caught early.
My husband tells me that I have beautiful brown eyes, and I don't want to lose that.
Make a plan today to get your eyes checked.
Visit brightfocus.org to learn more.
The Oxford High School Breakfast Club is starting to make plans for this year's events. You remember that last year, they were the ones behind the Oxford Gives Back program that allowed kids and adults to get together and clean up the homes of those in need. Well, like many other good things, the plan is getting bigger and better this year. Jacinta Hogan is one of the student coordinators, and she has more.
Okay, so Oxford Gives Back is a project where we have youth in the community and their families go and do free spring cleanup for anyone who needs it. Last year we helped over 30 homes. Many of them were seniors, some of them were affected by cancer and other things that left them unable to do their own yard work. We had over 350 volunteers from the community help out, many of them from Oxford High School, and it was a huge success. So we're declaring it an Oxford tradition and working very hard this year to make it successful again. We have definite influx of interest. We are going to have a lot of sign-ups out throughout the community, and we're expecting around 150 homes and over 1,500 volunteers. So currently we're looking for adults that will be able to be site volunteers, so we need around 150 to 200 of those. So that's our phase one that we're working on right now for Oxford Gives Back.
And here's how to sign up.
We're going to have applications, paper copies available in the community at many of the businesses that are attached with the Chamber of Commerce, and also we will have a Facebook and Twitter blast going out with an online application.
A little local business support would help too, with those yard tools and leaf bags and stuff.
We are currently working on a partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, which would give us all access to the businesses in the Chamber. We need supplies, yep, we need leaf bags, shovels, tools, gloves for sure, and also we do try to give snacks to our volunteers. We are giving everyone a t-shirt who participates, so we're going to be fundraising for that, just to make it as much as a community event as possible.
Principal Todd Dunkley chaired that meeting. He had a couple of other things to mention. More on that in a moment.
A small town with a lot of heart and history. A hidden gem with a sense of community. Welcome to Leonard.
We sat down with Oxford High's Principal Todd Dunkley the other day to talk about a new organization for parents.
You know, I was over to headquarters a few weeks ago, and I was talking to Debbie Fox, who is the in charge of all the computer access points at the district.
She's our network person.
Number one, you know, my age being what it is, I was amazed at how many ways you can find out how good your kid is doing these days. But in any event, now you're telling me you've gone one step further and you've got something else going on. Why don't you enlighten us on that?
So the side of what we do, the core and the foundation of what we do that has always been there, that sometimes we have to remind ourselves, is the human-to-human connection. And you can't be a village to raise a kid if you never talk to the other villagers. So basically, we've not had a parent group for, I don't know if we ever had, but it's been quite a long time to anybody's knowledge. I have a certain way that I like to do parent groups. It's not your traditional type of PTO. One of the things that you find out in today's world, that fundraising seems to be what everybody does all the time, and that's not what our cause of bringing people together. So there's no fundraising. This basically brings parents in for a two-way collaborative effort. Information comes in. We would like to see this, or we want to know about this, or we'd like to help with this. Here's what we're thinking. I'm bringing in folks say, what are you hearing? What's working? You know, right here, right now. And what happens with the Parent Liaison Network? And if you go online to find it, it's Oxford Parent Liaison Network. I have a Facebook page. We started that up this year with a group effort to get communication solidified, unified, simplified. And so the topics for the year were all selected by the parents, things they're interested in. And lo and behold, a lot of it is simply things that their kids know, but they don't know. Sure, they know about how their kids doing in class and so forth, and they can go online maybe to find out about a ball game, but they want to know when are dances, what are these club meetings, what are the club opportunities, what's going on in the actual climate of the school for their kid and ways they can be involved. When are the dances, the concerts, when are the tests coming up? Some of the traditional things they want to know about beyond that is, you know, in the changing world of electronics, the way we apply for college is not the old-fashioned paper pencil. And they feel a little helpless sometimes and need to know about what they can do and how to find that out. So we're flooding that site with information that's pretty much pertinent to what a freshman parent would want to know, a sophomore, a junior, a senior parent. I've decided I'm going to do the old-fashioned mailing again with that old letter. And quarterly, here are the dates you need to know about coming up right now. That to you as a parent, you can put that in your refrigerator, say, I can focus on that. Because we've gotten so widespread with our digital information, it actually confuses some people because it's in 100 different places. You know what? We just want one simple, one-stop shop kind of thing. And so that letter kind of lowers the shoulders, connects them right with us, connects me with them, gets rid of a lot of rumors. You know, I like to get them in the building. We get some coffee. Didn't have coffee last time. We get the cookies out. We'll have coffee next time. And it's a way just to like, what's working, what's not. This is our community school, and that's what we're after.
Okay, so was this idea the result of a particular event that got to you, or was it a culmination of a whole bunch of things?
No, I've been, to be quite frank, it's something that I was wanting since I've been principal, but I've been very delicate about starting it, and choose my words wisely on this, right? There's a lot of different types and styles of energy, and people have their own focus and things they want. I'm looking for that middle ground that's positive. There are no personal venues here. You got an individual situation with your child, whatever, bring that to us behind closed doors. Don't use up meeting time with all that energy with everybody else. Why say that? I needed to find a chair that didn't have something that they wanted to change or something that was bothering them, that was just open-minded to bring a collaborative, positive, collective group. So I handpicked Daniel Wernis for this first one. And then we'll change it over next year. I don't want this to become a group that's known as their own group. I want it to constantly be a blend. So for the last 3 years, I've been picking away at a couple parents, and finally, and I think I did tell you this earlier, I think my line to her was, all right, I'm going to go stand in your yard and not go away until you say yes. I need to launch this year. Because communication is the key to all things. And this important element is essential in a school environment. And so this idea of mine was a long time coming, but it's not new. I mean, parent organizations exist well before we were born in all schools. I like the liaison approach because it's truly about networking information. And so even if you are or are not at the meetings, you can access information and still share out, and you're connected through these liaisons. And I want to add this promo in. Everywhere I've been when it comes to high school parent organizations, we do well with the moms, and we struggle to get dads there. So a shout out to dads. If we can get you there, getting there in equal proportion would be wonderful. But if I get a few more dads to have a balance of our different help helpful minds and attitudes. More power to you. I've had one dad show up so far, looking for 20.
When do you have your meetings and how often?
The meetings are about monthly. The next meeting coming up is Wednesday, November 16th. There's a couple topics on there. We'll have our police liaison, security, our international program. We'll be talking about that one. And then we have Wednesday, the 18th of January, because we don't do one in December. We'll have counseling overview. It'll include scheduling and discussing scholarships and stuff. All online. All this is on that Oxford Parent Liaison Network online on that Facebook.
I thought as long as I was there, I'd ask how the new intramural program was going.
Fantastic. You got the right guy. Fantastic for a start. We know the potential of where it's going to go. What you're going to see now that football season's over, there's a reason a lot of the students who want to be involved with pretty commitment. I shouldn't say just football season. I just happen to know a lot of those players want to be involved. Fall sports season. You're going to see a lot more active involvement from our traditional residents here, and that's what we want to grow. We knew it would be huge with the international students, but the mingling and the intermingling needs a lot more of the natives here. So you're going to see that have to add adult help by the time it's done. It's fun. The adult staff are getting involved, by the way, but I mean as far as the advisoryship, Mr. Card is, Mr. Carson is absolutely fantastic at running it.
Another celebrity musician is coming to town. More on that in a moment.
K9 Stray Rescue is Oxford's own local dog rescue. Each year they take in hundreds of dogs and bring them into suitable homes. A certified nonprofit organization, K9 Dog Rescue strives to give pound dogs a new leash on life. To donate, adopt, or even volunteer, call them at 248-628-0435 or go to their website, dogsaver.org, and click on the K9 Stray Rescue League link.
Remember how neat it was when legendary jazz pianist Kenny Barron came to town last year? Well, guess what? The Michigan State Jazz Bands are returning this year with another big name. I sat down with Jazz Band Director John Hill.
Well, we have another Michigan State University jazz performance coming up February 11th, and they are going to come out again to perform with the jazz band. They're going to not only work on as a clinicians with the jazz band, but then also we are going to have them as featured artists with a featured guest, Annette Cohen. And she is a great jazz clarinetist from New York, and I think she's originally from Israel, but she plays all over the world, and she plays a lot of jazz festivals. I believe she was at the Detroit Jazz Festival recently.
Really?
I believe so. I'd have to check my facts, but she's one of the top jazz musicians in the world, I got to hear her in concert about 5 years ago, and she's outstanding and just a lot of fun. And it'll be interesting to see what she does with the arrangements that the Michigan State University plays with her.
Well, that was so neat when we had Eddie Barron here last year.
Yeah, Kenny Barron.
Yeah.
Kenny
Barron.
Yeah.
I was privileged to be able to interview him when he was here. And my gosh, if you're not familiar with him and you pull him up on the web, you'll see he's been on so many albums and had so many of his own. I couldn't believe we had somebody like that here in our little town.
Right. And Kenny Barron, obviously a jazz legend. Annette Cohen, maybe not so known as Kenny Barron, but kind of one of the young, maybe not really young lines. I think she may be in her 40s, and she. But just one of the great voices, young voices in jazz today.
Well, I'm so glad that tradition is continuing. What a wonderful opportunity for the kids around here to get that exposure, and the people to get that exposure as well.
Yes, yeah. To bring world-class musicians to Oxford and to perform. I know last year we had some weather issues. It's going to be February 11th, so we'll see what the weather's like. But I'm going to promote it, and I want to thank you guys for promoting it on your channel, and hopefully we can get a full house, and it's just going to be world-class jazz. And I'll tell you, the high school jazz band right now is as good as I could ever imagine it being. It's just gotten better and better every year. This is my 4th year here, and most of the band is juniors. I think we only have like maybe 1 or 2 seniors in the band, and it's just phenomenal, and I think it's just going to keep getting better and better. So,
did you lose a few guys last year?
Yeah, we lost some major players last year, and students have stepped right up. And
I wanted to ask you, you guys went clubbing a little bit last year, didn't you? How did that work out?
Well, we tried. In fact, there was some weather issues. We never made it to the club. So, and the kids are asking about it. I've been in contact. Scott Gwinnell is the gentleman that kind of manages. There's 2 different. There's the Cliff Bells, downtown Detroit, and then there's one he does in Clawson, jazz night type thing with his big bands. And we're looking at joining him again. I've been in touch with him a couple times. He hasn't given me a date yet, so I'll keep bugging him. But I'd love to get the band on the road. I do want you to know, though, we are playing several jazz festivals this year.
Wonderful.
In fact, I've already registered. We've never played it. It's the Central Michigan University Jazz Festival, and it's going to be February 3rd, which is the week before Michigan State comes. So we're going to be really primed. We're going to play. It's a competitive jazz festival, and hopefully some of our students place, and maybe even if our band places competitively. And that'll be February 3rd up at Central Michigan University. We plan on doing the MSBOA, the band festival again. We were in straight first division ratings last year and had some recognition. One of our guitarists, Luke Sittard, was selected as an honorable mention as one of the outstanding guitarists in the state from that festival.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Give us a little hint of some of the pieces you're going to be playing. Are you going to head towards a certain artist or a certain composer? Or?
And the kids, like the way they've been playing so well. We read this morning Blue Rondo a la Turk by Dave Brubeck, and it was wonderful. I mean, just to read it, we did some prep on the rhythms. The rhythms are very tricky, and they're going to be able to play it. So I have so many things right now. We do have a senior, Luke Octor, and Luke Octor usually plays right before the concerts. He plays the entrance music where people are coming in. I picked out a really beautiful Pat Metheny piece that we're going to feature Luke Octor on. I do want to feature Luke Sittard on many things. The Blue Rondo is great because it breaks into a blues in the middle where you can have everybody play, solos and stuff. So that's a great piece. We're also looking at a piece by Wayne Shorter called Footprints. And Footprints, the arrangement we're using it's by Mike Tomorrow, and it's a beautiful arrangement of the jazz classic Footprints. Footprints is a tune that came out in the 1960s with the Miles Davis Quintet, and Wayne Shorter did his own versions. It's his tune, Wayne Shorter. So
I heard you were going to do some Stan Kenton, but you couldn't get the mellophones. Is that right?
Well, we always want to play Stan Kenton, so we'll have to pick through the library. In fact, I was listening to Stan Kenton this morning. His Live at the Tropicana album is one of my favorite.
Right. Well, anything else you want to add about your upcoming season here?
Just that there's one other festival that we're looking at going. I've got to get the application. I don't know if we even have an application available yet. It's the Thornapple Jazz Festival. And my first year here in Oxford, we took the students to Thornapple. The entire town, it's the town of Hastings. It's over by Grand Rapids. And the entire town is the Jazz Festival. Every public building is part of the Jazz Festival. They have live music all over town. There's hundreds of groups that play, college groups, vocal groups, steel drum bands, high school jazz bands, you name it. A lot of college groups come out. It's amazing. So we want to go to that Jazz Festival.
Is that a summertime thing or what?
No, they try to get, in fact, they just built, it's kind of neat. The festival's going on, I think this is the 12th year of the festival, and I've been involved with it many of the years. They had a donor build a $1 million outside pavilion for the festival. And so they're trying to schedule it as late as possible in April so that they'll have decent weather to have a lot of the performances outside even.
And we will be there to record and broadcast it all. Next, some new marching orders from band director Jim Gibbons, right here.
Hey Lakeville, you're watching OCTV.
Now that football season is over, it's time for the band to think about other things, including their next trip. I chatted with high school band director Jim Gibbons.
You know, I've always believed that God didn't make man to walk or march and play an instrument at the same time.
I think some of my students think that same thing.
But the fact of the matter is, these kids in good marching bands, they're as athletic as the football players.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I say this to a lot of marching band parents. You're not going to find many more complex activities for a student to do in the school than marching band because of all of the skills. You're talking about a physical activity, the repetitions that we do, the playing through. If you watch the tempo that we march for pregame or things like that, they're busting their butt doing what they do, and we're out rehearsing sometimes for 3 hours. And at the same time they're doing that, they're using both sides of their brain because they still have to be artistic and they have to be thinking about what their music is and the crescendos, the dynamics, and listening and playing in tune, playing with good balance between all the different instruments. The marching band will memorize their show, so they got to play their show memorized. So I mean, the skill that it takes to do what they do, and then, you know, how they stand, they have to have the right posture, they got to be on the correct foot, they got to know where they're going, you know, step to step. It's very complex. It's why we rehearse a lot. I mean, we spend a lot of time rehearsing that stuff, but it is a physical, for sure, a physical activity, a mental activity, an artistic activity, absolutely.
Personally, I think it should be an Olympic sport.
Yeah. Well, they do kind of have that. They have the Drum Corps International. So they have drum corps from all over the country that compete every year in Indianapolis, and they have they name a world champion for it would be like professional marching band almost.
It kind of bugs me that when you watch these college football games that the halftime is always spent hearing a recap of how all the other teams are doing instead of watching the program.
It used to be years ago you would show the bands, and the one game where they still show clips of the bands in the halftime is the Rose Bowl. If you watch the Rose Bowl, you'll see the two college bands part of the show that they march at halftime.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the Oxford Band. You've just completed the marching band season.
Yep.
And we're actually already into the concert season, but there's going to be some Christmas stuff coming, holiday stuff coming up. And then you're going to get into the season of competitions.
Going to band festival,
and
absolutely.
Maybe even a trip or two. Why don't you give us an idea of what's on the horizon for you guys?
So we have all of our holiday programs. That we have a program on December 7th, which is our 7th grade band and our high school concert band and the high school symphonic band. They're the younger two bands, and they're doing a holiday program on December 7th at 7 o'clock. December 12th is the holiday program for the 6th grade advanced band, the 8th grade band, the high school jazz band, and the high school wind ensemble, which is the top performing group at the high school. Their program is December 12th at 6:30. Here, both of those are at the High School Performing Arts Center. Christmas favorites we're playing. It should be very, very enjoyable concert. The wind ensemble, we have a guest artist, we have a singer. We're doing a piece that actually is going to have Abby Prater, who's a teacher here at the high school, teaches language arts. She's going to sing with the band at that concert, so that ought to be a very cool event. Then we get don't have much time, and then we're turning around and starting to learn all of our festival music. We host band festival here for Michigan School Band and Orchestra Association. It's the first weekend of March, and so there'll be probably 21 groups that will perform here at the high school over that weekend. And they are rated. They get a rating. The rating is how they perform. We're not compared to other schools. We just are compared to ourselves, and you get a first, second, third division rating based on your performance. And that's in March. That's kind of the Super Bowl for us. That's our big event, the school year for the concert bands. That's that's kind of our. I guess it's our M-Step. our version of SAT, of the standardized test, because we're graded and rated against kind of a standard for what you would expect to hear from a high school group that's at the level. Same with the middle school bands.
Will you probably have any kids going to any competitions away from here?
We will have we have Solo and Ensemble Festival. That's small groups, you know, kids playing by themselves or maybe in a small group. We do that in February. The kids go to Swartz Creek for that and play solo and ensemble. Not every kid in the band does that. That's kind of an optional thing, but it's great. I mean, you think about it's, you know, kids getting up, giving a speech or whatever it is. They're not speaking. They're playing their instrument and doing it for a judge, and so that's a great skill for them musically. One of the best things they can do for their playing is to do solo performance. It really pushes them to be better.
Now, if memory serves, last year in the springtime, you guys went to New York City. In fact, you had a rather interesting experience.
Yeah, at the Statue. Yeah, we did that two school years ago, so that was about a year and a half ago. We did the New York trip, and the only time since September 11th that the Statue of Liberty has had to be evacuated, we got to be on the island for. Somebody called in a bomb threat. They took it pretty seriously, and we got to float in the river for about an hour on one of the ferry boats. We could have done without that. It was a great trip. We are actually traveling again this year. The band is going to, the band and orchestra, because the orchestra is with us, we're going to Disney World and in Florida. So we will perform. The band is going to perform at the Magic Kingdom and do a parade performance in the Magic Kingdom. The orchestra is performing at Disney Springs, what used to be Downtown Disney. They'll give a concert there, and then both groups are doing a clinic, a workshop with a Disney musician that shows our students what it's like to be a professional musician, and whether it be a professional musician that does like the soundtrack music. So, you know, all the commercial jingles, or when you go to the movie and you hear the soundtrack, the score, the idea behind the clinic is to show kids what it's like to do that and what the environment's like. And the Disney musician talks about what it's like to be a musician at Disney World and play in the groups that are down there. So we in the school bands, we will rehearse 2 months and give one concert. They will rehearse once and play 6 months of shows based on that one rehearsal, and so it's very eye-opening for the students. It's a unique workshop to Disney. It's not like I can take the band to some other place around Michigan or something to have an experience like that. They're set up, the recording equipment, and the band gets to hear themselves play, and it's a very eye-opening experience. I'm excited for our groups to get to do that. But
what month are they going down?
We're going. We leave the. I think we're leaving March 30th, and we're on a Thursday, and we'll be down there until Monday night. And we're going to check out Universal Studios for a couple days. We'll be at Disney for 3 days. Like I said, we have the performances and our workshop while we're there. It's a great experience for the kids, not just because they have a good time, but because of what the performance experience. You'd be surprised. This will be, I think, it's the 5th or 6th time I've taken the band there, and every year I have kids tell me, you know, Mr. Gibbons, the thing I was looking forward to the least was having to put the uniform on and marching. And we come back and they say that was by far the best experience we had while we were down there. Performing in front of the amount of people who are so appreciative of their performance, we will take the Oxford band, Oxford community's name, to Florida and march in front of probably 20,000–30,000 people, and you know, from Oxford, Michigan, the Oxford High School Wildcat Marching Band, and so and we perform for a global audience. There'll be people from all over the world that will see our band perform.
That's great. Well, thanks for everything you do. Let me talk to the boss. Maybe let me follow along on that one.
Yeah, we would.
I'd love to go to Disney World.
Yeah, absolutely love to have you along and film our trip. That'd be great.
It sure would. That's this edition of Schooling Around. Thanks to the incomparable Kyle Snage at the controls, the adventurous Dan Zweiss at the editing desk, and you for watching. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.